is for either one of you all to have the audacity to believe that you understand what the experience is to be.
I have to object to that.
But you just said
I cannot talk about it because I am not part of a group. I am a sentient human being. You're right. There's two ways you cannot understand something. One is to be too far from it. We're too far from it. We can't see like you can. One is to be too close to something. And then sometimes you can't see it accurately either.
Bill Maher has officially burned his bridges with the left and is speeding toward political exile. While he hasn't openly admitted this shift, his fiery takedowns and relentless clashes with Democratic guests have revealed the harsh truth. In one explosive episode, Maher completely destroyed his guest for using race as a weapon, delivering a fierce verbal attack that left viewers shocked. The impact was absolutely devastating. Smash that like button and subscribe right now for more bold content that uncovers political hypocrisy.
At the Super Bowl, there, for the first time in, I think, 4 years now, the Trump administration is making them take away "end racism," which they had written in the end zone, right? And when
why? It just seems silly. I mean,
to do it or not to do it?
Why get rid of it?
Oh, I could tell you why.
I know, but it's just like you're...
Because it was stupid to begin with.
Yeah, but it's...
Let me ask you, who is it for? And if you're a racist and you see "end racism" in the end zone, you're going to stop being a racist?
That's leftist media correspondent Tara Palm-Mary pushing the woke left's usual brand of empty virtue signaling, throwing out buzzwords as if they were real solutions. But Bill Maher wasn't buying it. He stopped her cold with a simple yet sharp question that exposed the weakness of her argument. She froze. No witty comeback, no clever deflection, just the realization that her slogans carried no weight when tested against reality. And that's the problem, isn't it? Too often, the left mistakes catchy phrases and moral posturing for real progress. They shout about justice, equity, and inclusion. But when it comes to solving real and urgent issues, crime, borders, inflation, national security, they go silent. Maher's pushback reminded everyone that words without substance are nothing more than empty noise. Sometimes I wonder if these activists ever stop to realize that their slogans don't change anything in the daily lives of ordinary Americans.
Basically, like, don't be a...
But I think it's an to nag us during a football game about something that doesn't change anything or any. If I'm not a racist and I see it, it doesn't matter. And if I am a racist, it's going to make me more of a racist.
Like, I think if you write "don't be an on the end zone," everybody will agree with that.
Now, for those who haven't been paying attention, the "End Racism" slogan didn't vanish because the president snapped his fingers. It disappeared because corporate America finally woke up from its woke-induced coma. For nearly a decade, CEOs and PR teams bent the knee, plastering empty slogans and rainbow-colored logos everywhere just to appease the Twitter mob and fringe activists. It was never about solving real problems. It was about survival in a culture controlled by outrage. But here's the twist: the tide has turned. The woke wave has lost its grip, and corporations are quietly retreating, dropping hollow virtue signals and crawling back to their original messaging. Translation: the mob doesn't scare them anymore, and fake pandering is officially out of style.
Have inquiries. We would request information. We would want cabinet secretaries and assistant secretaries and deputy secretaries to come before committee. We would send letter after letter after letter and get no response. The Biden administration operated literally in the shadows. They would not tell you anything that was going on. At least Donald Trump puts it out in the litany of orders that come out that day. Here's what we're doing today. We're going into the Department of Justice. We are taking these attorneys and they are under supervisory review, or however they choose to phrase it. You knew nothing that was going on in Joe.
Meanwhile, these same people have the audacity to call themselves champions of democracy. But what kind of democracy hides the truth from its own citizens? With them, transparency is just a myth. Every story is covered in secrecy. Every press conference carefully staged. Every narrative twisted and manipulated. And when they finally pretend to come clean, it's never the truth. It's just another layer of spin and deception. For the Democrats, the closer you look, the less you actually see. Because behind the curtain, it's nothing but smoke, mirrors, and political theater. Now contrast that with Trump who, whether you agree with him or not, built his brand on promises kept. Democrats, on the other hand, are experts at broken pledges. Just look at Biden. He swore he'd respect the rule of law and let his son face justice. Yet when the moment of truth arrived, he pulled the strings to protect him. Classic hypocrisy.
Mean girls complaining about privilege and trying to make fetch happen. What a shocker that the people who see everything through the lens of race and sex see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Yes, if only we weren't so irredeemably unenlightened, we would have elected a black president by now. Oh, what, we did? Oh, right, and then re-elected him. Maybe you missed it because it...
Bill Maher didn't let up. He kept tearing into Tara Palm Mary for doing what so many on the left do, closing her eyes to reality and reducing every issue to the same tired lens of race and gender. It's the same worn-out script the Democratic National Committee has been running for years. Divide people into categories, play identity politics, and hope no one notices the lack of real solutions. But America isn't buying it anymore. Voters have caught on to the game, and the DNC's favorite playbook is starting to feel more like a bad rerun than a real strategy. The tragedy is they refuse to step away from that hill. Instead of adapting, they're doubling down, clinging to the same divisive narratives that once gave them power but now only reveal their emptiness. Maher's pushback made the point even clearer. This obsession with identity over substance is a losing battle, and the clock is ticking.
3 million more votes than Trump, which in a normal country would be called a victory. It wasn't 21st century sexism that prevented a woman from being president. It was the Electoral College. Democrats run for office as if the voters don't live here, as if they don't go to the grocery store and Starbucks and the office.
The Democrats love to push the narrative that America didn't vote for Kamala Harris or Hillary Clinton simply because of their gender. It's their favorite excuse, a ready-made shield to deflect from their failures. But as Bill Maher bluntly points out, that's never been the case. Voters didn't reject them because they were women. They rejected them because the Democratic Party refuses to deal with the issues that actually matter to everyday Americans. Instead of tackling rising costs, border chaos, crime in major cities, or the crumbling trust in government, Democrats spend their time obsessing over pronouns, policing language, and turning every conversation into a lecture on gender or race. Maher's critique hits hard because it's true. People aren't turned off by female candidates. They're turned off by a party that seems more invested in identity politics than in real solutions. And that's why they keep losing ground.
Doesn't look like some patriarchal racist nightmare. Kamala spent 100 days telling voters, I know it feels like crime and illegal immigration are bad, but your feelings, look at this chart. Yes, there's a lot to not like already about the new regime, but maybe take 1 week to ask what you did wrong. The basis for Democratic campaigns has become...
And that right there has always been the core problem with the Democrats. They walk around convinced they're the smartest people in the room. Anyone who dares to disagree with their worldview or refuses to accept their ideology is instantly dismissed as ignorant, backward, or uneducated. It's an arrogance that seeps into every speech, every debate, and every media soundbite. On top of that, they indulge in non-stop moral grandstanding, lecturing the rest of the country as if they alone hold the monopoly on virtue. Frankly, it's nauseating. This holier-than-thou attitude hasn't just made them unbearable, it has driven a wedge through the nation. Instead of persuading people, they shame them. Instead of building coalitions, they alienate anyone outside their bubble. And in the process, they've pushed away more than half of America, leaving behind a party that claims to be inclusive but practices the politics of exclusion.